And now for something completely silly. I thought initially that this was going to be the third entry in the recent Jim Wynorski series of Giantess films done for Full Moon Pictures. This is not that. This is a film that was actually done before those films by director Jeff Leroy. This is Giantess. I'm going to look at the cover right here. This is Giantess Attack versus MECHA Fembot. And it, for the cover design, you would swear that it's part of this Wynorski series, but it's not. So Jeff Leroy, as far as I know, is a guy who's been making these giantess sort of fetish videos about giant, powerful women who crush things Godzilla style and step on things with open-toed shoes and take tiny men and swallow them and let them slide all over their bodies. This isn't really a dirty movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it is. I think it is really plays into that giantess fetish thing, just so you know. So the way this film plays out, this is actually the second film. There was another film, another giantess mecha thing that came out in 2017. This is actually a sequel to that, but it is being presented by Full Moon as a standalone film. So there is a little thing. This is only 63 minutes. And the first couple minutes of this thing I'm about to tell you about is it opens with this sci-fi, what is it called? Sci-Fi Channel pilot playhouse where some woman coming out introducing herself as Katie Seagal, who's not Katie Seagal, dressed as Peg Bundy from Married with Children. And I thought she would use like a fake name, but she just says she's Katie Seagal, says she's introducing this pilot playhouse where here's an episode of this long-lost movie that was supposed to be a cross between Power Rangers and foot fetish videos, and the only episode that survives is this, and here you go. Which is sort of a way to basically try to explain why you feel like you're being flung into a sequel to a movie you didn't see, which was the case for me. So, the basic storyline here is this follows up after the first movie, which I didn't see, so I can't tell you anything about. And these two women that were formerly, they used these weird, they look like hair hot curler things, makes them grow to be giant and fight and crush things and step on men and take tiny men and put them in their mouth. And they've overcome that. They are now normal sized. But something happens. Christine Nguyen, who was actually in one or more of those other Jim Wynorski movies I talked about, which led to my confusion here, plays some woman from another planet who wants to destroy an animal shelter. They keep seeing this thing that almost feels like a spoof of those old Sarah McLachlan In the Arms of the Angels, you know, don't let these animals be killed commercials. One of these spoofs of that keeps playing, and Christine Nguyen wants to basically create a giant robot woman who will go and crush that animal shelter because she's a terrible person. And she has a man who's been shrunk, a scientist who's been shrunk to be tiny, and she's making him do it so that they can get it on or something like that. It's very strange. It's very silly. It's not done seriously. It's supposed to be a comedy. I didn't find it all that funny. I thought the humor just didn't land for me, but I could see what they were going for. There's a lot of references to other movies, a lot of reusing of iconic lines from other movies jokingly. And so you get this giant fembot who shows up, who's crushing things, and the two women from the original movie reluctantly become, I might be getting this wrong because it's strange. I don't know how I didn't follow a plot that was 60 minutes long, but these two women become giants again, and then it's basically very tall ladies fighting and crushing people, and there's a lot of CGI and a lot of, I mean like low-end CGI, a lot of green screen, a lot of model work, which is pretty impressive, and it's just, it wasn't really for me. I went into this originally thinking this was a third part of a series that I had enjoyed for what it was, but those movies I think were a lot better than this one. Not that I should be comparing this to anything else. It is what it is. If you like just goofy Full Moon Pictures kind of stuff, if you like giantess films, if you're the market for those giantess fetish kind of movies where they step on things with open-toed shoes and take little tiny men and swallow them or put them on their bodies or something, then this movie's definitely for you. It's just, it was a little too lean for me. It wasn't funny enough. And I mean, what Jeff Leroy achieves is impressive on what is certainly little to no money. And it felt more like a video for somebody to get their jollies from, shall we say, than it did. Not that it was explicit, but it felt like it was much more for that audience than it was for me. So I didn't care for Giantess Attack versus MECHA Fembot, but you might. So let me just tell you that. My job here is to say what I think about these things, but also tell you what you're getting if you want to buy this. So let's see, the extras. There's a trailer for this film. There is a featurette, which I also saw somewhere else. I think this was making the rounds of film festivals a while ago, called Giant Women Micro Budget. It's 10 minutes, and that is basically behind the scenes on a rooftop where they shot all of the scenes of giantess destruction. And it interviews the actresses who have a very good sense of humor about it, and the cinematographer and the director. And it's really cool. That's 10 minutes. And then you get a whole bunch of full moon trailers, which also have appeared in a lot of the other recent full moon releases. You get the trailer for Giantess Battle Attack, The Resonator, Baby Oopsie 2, Murder Dolls, Piranha Woman, Evil Bong 888, and Ouija's Halloween Night. None of which really seem to appeal to me, but that's just me. I'm not I come and go with the full moon stuff. I totally respect full moon, that Charles Band is still cranking these things out after decades and decades of doing it, but they don't always appeal to me. But I know they appeal to somebody because they wouldn't be in business anymore if they didn't. So available now on Blu-ray from Full Moon is Giantess Attack versus Mecha Fembot.